So this is 4.2 homework, and in this assignment, we're basically supposed to try to figure out which formula do we use, the simple, compound, continuous interest formula, and use that to solve the problem. So we'll start here in number 1, and on this problem, right, we're given a table, and we have to fill in the values of the table, and so I know it's a simple interest formula because it says simple interest, so let me copy it down here. So it's FV is equal to PV times 1 plus IT. And I simply fill in the missing value, so I don't know FV, and so I'll just write FV equals PV is 2,150. Of course, 1 is 1. I is 5%, so 0.05. And then T, now here's where you have to be a little bit careful. Right? It says 3 months. And T is in years, so we have to figure out how many years is 3 months, or in a sense, what sort of fraction 3 months is in years. And so 3 months is a quarter of a year, so 0.25 years. And you put this into your calculator, so take out your calculator, and you have 2150, and then left parenthesis 1 plus 0.05 times 0.25 in parenthesis, and you hit enter, and out pops our answer of approximately $2,176.88. And so we put that right up here. So 2176.88. Right, in the second part, all right, we know the future value now, we know the present value, we know the simple interest rate, but we don't know the time. So on here, again, I use the same formula, FV equals PV times 1 plus IT, and I just plug in, so 4,470 equals the present value, which is 3,000, left parenthesis 1 plus the simple interest rate, which is 0.07, and T I don't know, so I just copy down the letter T. And so to solve this, I graph the right, graph the left, and intersect. So I take my calculator, hit y equals, and I'll plug in the formula, so 3,000, left parenthesis 1 plus 0.07. I have a t there, so I use the x as my variable, right parenthesis, hit enter, and then I put in 4470 for y2. I have to make my window, so on my window here, I might do, let's do 0 to, and you can pick, but this is years, so maybe I'll do 5 years. And then I'll hit zoom fit to get a nice looking graph. And so there's the formula on the right. There's the number 4,470 on top there. And notice they don't intersect, so I need to make my window bigger. So instead of 5 years, let's go to 10 years. So I'll make X max 10. Again, hit zoom fit. And now, again, I get my line right here. And there's my 4,470 right there. I see it crosses. I might draw the picture here. There's the line. There's that. And from 0 to 10. And, of course, I'm going to use intersect to solve this. And so I'm going to get T approximately, so second, trace, go down to intersect, and then just hit enter 3 times, and out pops my answer. T is actually equal to, it says exactly, 7 years. So I put 7 years there. In the next part, I want to fill in the missing values, but instead of the simple interest formula, now I'm going to use the compound interest formula because it says nominal interest rate compounded next to it. And so the compound interest formula is FV equals PV, and you have times 1 plus I over N all raised to the NT. And again, the first one we don't know the future value, so I just copy down FV. I know the present value, it's 6,500. Left parenthesis, 1 is 1, plus is plus. I is 3%, so 0.03. Divided by N. N is the number of times we're compounding the money. So that's monthly, so that's 12. Right parenthesis, So that's 12 for N, and then T is 3 years, so times 3. And so this is going to be approximately, I take out my calculator, and I'm going to crunch this number. All right, so I start off with 6,500, left parenthesis, 1 plus 0.03 divided by 12, in parenthesis, raised to, and so I could just write 36 here because 12 times 3 is 36, but if I want to write 12 times 3, I have to put left parenthesis, 12 times 3, right parenthesis, enter. And out pops my answer of approximately $7,111.33. So right here I put $7,111.33. In part 2 on this problem, they give me the future value, they give me the present value, but they do not give me the nominal interest rate. So what I need to do now is plug everything in. So FV I know, 14,650, is equal to the present value, which is 13,000. 1 plus, now I don't know, so I just write I. And then it's quarterly, so that's 4 times a year. And that's raised to the 4, so that's N, and then times T, and T is also 4. So again, I'll graph the right, graph the left, and intersect. So let's move this over. I hit Y equals, clear out whatever's in here, and then plug it in. So I have 13,000, left parenthesis, 1 plus I, so I write X, divided by 4, right parenthesis, raised to, and I have a choice. I can just raise it to the 16, or I hit left parenthesis, 4 times 4, right parenthesis. Y2, so hit enter, and then Y2 is 14,650. Now I'm trying to find what I is. So when I think about I is interest rate. So when I set my window, I know interest, it's always between, as a decimal, 0 and 1. So it's 0 and 1. And it's probably a lot smaller than 1. If the interest is 1, decimal-wise, it means it's 100%, which is a lot of interest. So what I'm going to do now is hit zoom fit and see what happens. Okay, so here is the formula on the right, slowly and then starting quickly to go up. It's actually an exponential formula. And there's the interest rate, this 14,650 on the bottom, and you see that it's going to intersect way over here next to probably, point 0 something. So let's go find where it intersects. Second trace, go down to 5. First curve enter, second curve enter, give it a guess, and out pops our answer. And this one, of course, we have to round, so it's approximately, I'd say 0.03, which equals 3%. All right. Finally, number 3, we meet our last formula, which is the continuous interest formula. And again, we don't know the future value. Well, let's copy down the formula. FV equals PV e to the IT. And you plug in for the future value. We don't know it, so you just write FV. PV we know, it's 15,000. E to the 7%, so I is 0.07. And then T is 4, so times 4. I take out my calculator. I'm going to crunch this number. And so I take 15,000. I hit second ln to get to the e to the button. Right, so e to the what? 0.07 times 4. And this gives me out $19,846.95. The second part, right, now I'm given FV and PV, but I don't know the continuous interest rate. So to find it, I plug in the future value, so $14,584. Oh, I forgot to write this up here, so I guess we should write these up here. $19,846 $4.95. Let's make sure I did this up here too. So this was actually 3%. And I got the other one right, yeah, okay. And so this is equal to now, that's a future value. The present value is 12,000, so I copy down the 12,000. Then I have E. I don't know, so I just keep it as I. And T is 3 years, so times 3. So now I graph the right, graph the left, and intersect. So on my calculator, I hit Y equals. Let's clear this out, clear that out. And I plug in the formula, 12,000. Second E, right, second ln to get to the E of the button. And I'm going to put an X into 3 in parentheses. And then enter. So for Y2, I put the number, $14,584. And then my window, I have to think, I'm trying to find I, which is interest. So again, I'll go between 0 and 1. So it's already set up to go between 0 and 1. So I'll hit zoom, zoom fit, and see what happens. Right. Here's the formula on the right. And way down there at the bottom goes that 14,584, but it does cross. So let's draw a picture of this. So it looks like that. Crosses way down there. I do intersect. All right, so second trace, go to 5, 1, 2, 3, and out pops my answer. I is approximately 0.065. which is equal to 6.5%. So in this little box here, I'll put 6.5%. Oh, that reminds me. Up here, I forgot to draw the picture, so I should probably have drawn this so it looks something like this, goes across, and I did intersect, just so I can get some partial credit if I made a mistake.